So this is your life to live. This is your life to love. This is your life to explore. And I'm here to offer these teachings, the tools and the processes. So I welcome you to 5 Keys to Awakening. It's a podcast show and celebrity host Jill Nicolini from New York podcast.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Dr. Rameet Singh joining us here. Excited to have her back to talk more today about, well, our third key. I can't believe it's the third show. It feels, wow, happened so quick, but we're talking about empowered relationships, right? And breaking cycles of dependency. Before we get to that, and we're going to talk about the hot topic of empowered relationships, breaking cycles of dependency. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we begin.
Sure, yes. So my name is Dr. Rameet Singh. I am a psychotherapist, a life coach, a speaker, and an author. And what I specialize in is working with women's holistic mental health, where we integrate psychology, core belief system work, emotional healing, but more specifically, divine feminine energy. And I find that a lot of times, like working with women, it's very one-dimensional in the mainstream mental health, and that they focus on maybe the trauma or the mind. But there's a whole dimension of the feminine that is so incredibly powerful, and it's our divine feminine energy. And a lot of the ancient traditions understood the aspect of the goddess. And so many of us have forgotten about that. And so when I integrate the concepts of goddess work, which is like we're looking at our interconnection with our power, working with the earth, the elements, and also working with the energy body, which is the chakra system, specifically the 4 lower chakras for the divine feminine healing, a lot of magic happens when you work with that dimension in mental health. So
beautiful.
So today, what we're going to talk about is that why is it so hard to let go of relationships that are not good for us? I can relate to this. I think many of us can relate to this, where we're in a relationship and clearly there's significant differences and patterns that we just can't get over. It's the personality thing of the other partner or the dynamics, and yet we want to hold on so tightly. And we end up in what's called this loop of pain and suffering. So what I really want to talk about today and explore is that, we can spend months and years attached to a relationship. And what ends up happening is that so much of our life force, energy, and attention gets so consumed by this pattern of pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure, that we actually end up losing ourselves and not developing other aspects of ourselves, whether it's creativity, spirituality, self-intimacy, and so forth. So today we're going to look at what's happening in the psychology, the energy field, and the emotions that keep us in these loops. And, how can we really just claim our worth and value and be able to take care of ourselves and step away when something is not working for us? And how do you know when something is not working for us so that we can stop this chasing game and actually learn to receive the love that is the best for us and the most healthiest for us?
Beautiful. Well, as an author, doctor, life coach, a psychotherapist, clearly you're working with people with the true feminine rising, as we discussed a little bit before. But all right, so back to attracting unhealthy partners for us. Why do we seek these unhealthy type of relationships, and what keeps us doing this over and over again? And obviously it keeps us staying with the same horrific pattern, but it's our own pattern. Why?
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, this is something I see all the time, and I'm sure we all see this, where either it's an abusive relationship or toxic relationship. And I think many of us at some point, even myself, have gone through this cycle. And I really had to sit with myself for, honestly, it's been 3 years of really going into myself and asking myself what happened where I was attached to a toxic relationship when I was younger, what was going on. And so really from that inquiry, and the work I've done, what it came down to was some very potent points. And the first reason why I believe we stay in unhealthy relationships and we are attached has to do with the comfort we feel with the chaos in our body. So as the feminine, We hold a lot of anxiety, emotions, intense feelings in our body, and also for the masculine. And if we've grown up in an environment where you were used to stress, you were used to feeling like you have to chase love, and you were used to the anxiety that comes with value, love, and affection, chances are that these chaotic feelings inside of your body feel very familiar. So as a result, you may end up attracting a partner that just simply replays that pattern. But because it feels so familiar in your physiology, you're used to that chaos. So that's the number one reason. The familiarity of the chaos, feelings of pain and pleasure and anxiety and uncertainty. Uncertainty. Is this person really good for me? Are they going to call me tomorrow? Are they going to text me? Are they going to show up appropriately? Are they going to yell at me? This uncertainty causes so much intensity of stress in the body. And it's like we could be so used to living that way for so many years, in our own way. The second reason to kind of add to that, has to do with the fact that on the deepest level, we might be afraid of intimacy with ourselves. Because when we are preoccupied with the chaos of a relationship, then our mind and our thoughts have some place to go, which is anything but outside ourselves. We can get stuck in the preoccupation of the sadness and the power struggles and the fights. And that is a distraction that keeps you away from actually taking time to be with yourself, connect with yourself, and work on your own personal responsibility and self-growth. And so for many of us, it's easier to focus out there than on ourselves, because if we actually have a partner that makes us feel safe and secure and we're calm inside, guess what? We have so much spaciousness now to now focus in ourselves and look at, what's my trauma, what's my pain, what I have to change in my life, what changes do I have to make, self-responsibility, and also working with self-intimacy is where's the source of love in myself. So to get to that spaciousness where you feel calm enough to actually work on raising your consciousness is a task that many people may be afraid to do for many reasons. And also fundamentally because they may believe that if I start to find that I am the source of love for myself and I feel whole and complete in myself, then what if I no longer need that person? What if I no longer need love? So many of us are in relationships because we believe we need love. And so it's that belief that keeps us in these chaotic patterns. So these are some of the reasons why I have noticed that, on a deeper subconscious level, we're staying in these toxic relationships.
Wow. Ooh, that chaos of it all, right? We get addicted to that. How can we stop this? My goodness. Very confusing. Yeah.
Yes. So, how do we stop this particular pattern of codependency and attachment? First of all, has to do with the ability of you to start changing your lifestyle. In order to start to shift the physiology, the energy, and the baseline of your mind and your emotions from chaos and stress to safety and security, you have to start to create a lifestyle that supports that way of being, that way of consciousness. And only you can do that for yourself. He can't or she can't provide that for you. And specific things that you can do to begin to shift your physiology and your programming to one of feeling safe and secure. Number one is to recognize how you are contributing to the go, 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 go lifestyle. Where I work with clients and I, talk to my colleagues and my family members and they may describe that they have a very stressful life. But when I really look at it, actually, they are creating a lot of their own stress without having the boundaries in place. They're creating a lot of their own stress with picking up the calls that they don't need to, scrolling through the social media. So first of all, just notice how you're creating your own stress in your life, and then look at how you can begin to plug in an hour to an hour and a half every single day to create moments of peace in yourself. This is really important. If you're not creating an environment of an hour and a half of creating peace for yourself, then you're not training your body to become familiar with the feeling of peace and love and ease. And there's two kinds of peace. There's true peace and there's chaotic peace. Chaotic peace is when your body might be relaxing, but your mind is still working. And that happens, of course, that happens. So if this
all
is
the time.
right? So if this is the situation, what you need to do is you need to find an activity that pulls you deep enough into your body and deep enough into your inner self. And the practices that I would recommend are based upon a lot of these ancient traditions, whether it's Qigong, martial arts, yoga nidra, yoga, guided meditation, women's groups, uh, you know, movement practices, ecstatic dancing, mindful dancing. So you got to find an activity, a practice that really is powerful and it can pull you out of that flight, fight, or freeze stress response and get you into the body. And for many of us, even for me, I started to create these hour moments when I would attend some kind of class, and I love the instructor who taught this meditation yoga class. And then I practice on my own, right? Or even the work that I do with my clients. So that's the first thing that I want to recommend. The second thing that I want to recommend is being able to integrate throughout your day at least 3 to 4 moments of 5 to 10 minute breaks where you do check-ins.
Those are always good.
Right? So before you have the meeting, you grab your tea and you actually just go outside and you breathe the fresh air. And you do these check-in moments and you check with your body, how am I doing? How am I feeling? And for me, I have several of these moments after I make a meal and I've got something else I got to do that's like a lot of like mental effort. I will pause and I will just take a deep breath in and I'll remind myself and anchor myself. So putting in these moments of pauses. The third thing, and really importantly, is do the deep healing work to process and clear anxiety, fear, and trauma in your body. A lot of these traumas and anxieties and fears, we just keep replaying them again and again with different people.
Like the hamster wheel. It's the same thing, different hamster. Yeah.
Exactly. So, whether you find a therapist or a holistic healer or whatever it is, do the work of the deeper healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth process I want to share and mention briefly is that work with self-worth and value. That means you realize with self-worth and self-value that it's not loving for me to stay in a relationship that's hurting my insides, right? It's causing negative hormones, tense muscles, dysregulation of the nervous system. Now, we cannot blame the other partner. It's a co-creation of the chaos pattern. But ultimately, you need to look at the relationship dynamic and work on it in yourself or as a partnership if you have a partner. Or recognize, which we'll talk about in the next portion here, if the person is actually suitable to be with you. So work with self-worth and value by recognizing that it's not fair to you and your insides to be in a toxic pattern. And the last thing I want to say, Jill, about the fifth process of what to actually practically do is working with core belief systems. So this has to do with internalizing the belief system that you deserve to be treated in a way where you feel safe and secure and ease with yourself. And, this is easy to say, but when we talk about core belief systems are internalized views that we have of the world, of our relationship with other people, and of how relationships are supposed to be. And these belief systems come from childhood and what we saw growing up. So they can be so embedded in our psyche that we are simply reacting to our beliefs about the world and we feel like they're just automatic. So working with core belief systems is, I think, the most fundamental thing you need to do to look at why am I attached to these unhealthy relationships. And chances are, you have a core belief system that has to do with the fact that love needs to be chased. I can't receive love. I need to earn love. I need to prove that I'm worthy of love. All these belief systems that you've created that are now attracting to you a chaotic environment. So these are the 5 processes of, I would say, of working with, not unhealthy attachment patterns.
All right. Then we also have to talk about the confusion storyline, right? Which is I love them, they love me, then their actions hurt me. And sometimes their actions make me feel like the most special person in the world. Why is it kind of like the person you're dating is like 2 different people, or maybe even 3, right? So sometimes it's amazing and sometimes it's so horrible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I find this a lot even when I work with people that have been in abusive relationships, or, friends I've had who've been in abusive relationships. It's like, they say this person made me feel like the most special person, and I had such an amazing experience with him. He makes me feel so loved. He's so affectionate. He's so kind. And then something happens, and then he's yelling at me, and he's maybe even abusing me, right? So, this is a heavy topic, but it's something that, we see all the time. It is
Mm-hmm.
so confusing for that woman or that man that's in the abusive relationships, because they're like, I thought like this person feels like he's such a kind, loving person. So what's really going on here is that we have 2 kinds of personalities, the integrated personality and the unintegrated personality. So when we start off in a relationship, um, basically we have moments with this person where he or she might be integrated with his true self, his heart, and his higher self. And that happens at the beginning of the relationship. The traumas, the unprocessed emotions have taken a back burner. So the person can show up with you in a space of being fully in the present moment and fully in their heart space. And in that moment, you get a glimmer of their divine self, like something quite amazing and spectacular. You feel magical in that moment. But then what happens is in the next day or the next moment, when they're operating day to day from their human personality has unresolved emotions, unresolved trauma, unexplored aspects of the self, parts that have not been grown, so much so that the human personality has this layer of emotions that is covering their true self or their integrated heart self or higher self. And so what happens is they start to react from that personality layer, and that personality layer will have projections in the moment. The personality layer will maybe have avoidance patterns. In other words, that personality layer that they're operating from day to day feels very different from their heart self, because there's unhealed emotions. And in that moment, they react towards you. They react in that moment, and you feel very confused as to why they aren't that person that they were when you first met them, when you were on that date. So what I tell women when they have this kind of partner is that you have to realize that you can't heal their personality, and you can't do the work for them to heal the layer of the self, the personality that is coming into the day-to-day life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in a chaos pattern. You can't heal that. You can bring to that person the awareness, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, but they have to do the work. Too many times we take on the responsibility to try to help
Mm-hmm.
them and fix them, and we cannot. So the best advice I have is you let them know what you're recognizing in that layer of the personality that's very different than their integrated self. And then you have the conversation, and either they do the work, and if they do not, and they don't want to hear it, then chances are the relationship is not going to be able to sustain itself. The love and the closeness and the beauty you felt when they were integrated cannot sustain itself. And so the relationship is going to dissolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I want to say about the confusion storyline, or how people can appear as 2 different people. And the last thing I want to say about that is that sometimes we see the person's potential in those moments when they're integrated in their heart and their higher selves. But if their potential cannot translate to how they operate day to day in their human personality, then you have to make a different choice
Mm.
of being with them or not.
Some of us will become codependent, right? And you want to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the hot word, codependency and anxious attachment pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly, what I believe what codependency and anxious attachment means is that basically there's a layer of our own self, like maybe my inner child that's wounded, or the part of me that feels unworthy. There's an unhealed part of myself that is seeking healing and resolution outside of myself. And when I seek healing and resolution outside of myself towards a person or even a job or something else, then I'm anxiously attached that if that thing leaves me, then the thing that was filling my void, or my pain is no longer going to be there, and then I have to re-experience my pain again. So in order to overcome codependency, very basic here, you have to begin to recognize that where your pain and your suffering is, and learn the tools and processes to hold and heal that pain for yourself, within yourself. Rely on your own self to heal that need, to heal that pain.
Okay.
And as you do that, you won't need another person to play that role for you.
That sounds so nice. Now we just need your help how to do it, right? If you could take us through the process of, really what it's like to start aligning to attract a healthy partner, yeah, that'd be great.
I'm going to have everybody just in the audience, just relax your body. You take a deep breath in. Just feel your body resting into your seat. As you close your eyes, just hearing the sound of my voice and the wisdom that's coming through here. The first thing to recognize is that your inner lover and beloved relationship is within yourself. So the invitation to begin to align to a healthy partnership is to begin to recognize, what does the healthy relationship sound like? What would be the voice of a healthy relationship? How would it feel like? What would it sound like? What would it say? And how would it feel like it? As you ask yourself these three questions, then you start to summon that awareness in you, that part of you that can now treat yourself in that way in this meditation. Start to tap into that inner masculine feminine dynamic. So if you can start to imagine that there is a beautiful light coming through your body, coming through into your mind, into your heart. As the light is right here in your heart, drop into your heart space. Place your hand over your heart. And then start to have and practice that dialogue with yourself. I'm here for you. I value you. What do you need? How can we make today special? Where would you like to go? Start to practice having the dialogue of the inner beloved within your own psyche to yourself every day. And as you begin to do that, that sound and that voice of love and compassion will start to feel familiar. If you cannot treat yourself well, then you might end up receiving another person that treats you the same way. So that's one practice to do. There's many more that I talk about in the True Feminine Rising program. I know that we're running out of time, but that's just a little thing that you can practice within yourself.
And what about this gift?
Yes. So we have the third gift from the third key of awakening, a little worksheet to begin to practice. What does it feel like and sound like when I can be my own beloved and treat myself in that way every day? And practice sheet will help you to really access that frequency of that love that you're seeking, that healthy love.
You offer that 3-month program. Could you just give us some details on that before we continue?
Absolutely. The True Feminine Rising program is basically all my life work and the women I've been working with for over 12 years, plus my own work. And it's basically a program that works on divine feminine empowerment and releasing restrictions. It's a 3-month journey with me that women can go through where they receive curriculum. So content that they can use every single day to anchor their healing, their trauma healing, and also the ability to work with me one-on-one and in group sessions. So that way we can go deeper into the content, specifically working with the 4 lower chakras, and the themes are feminine empowerment, feminine embodiment, how do you be in your body, be in your feminine center, feminine sacred sexuality, what is the force of sexual energy and sensuality that the feminine has for her own personal power and manifestation, and lastly, feminine love. So these are the 4 themes that we work with in this 3-month program, the True Feminine Rising.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love it. Dr. Rameet Singh, how do we reach you? Would you mind sharing again?
My website, which is Dr. Rameet, DRRAMEET.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great conversation today. Very thorough and enlightened me. I hope a lot of our listeners too.
What keeps you limited and small? What has caged you? Break free from restrictions. Access true feminine power and live life on your own terms. If you've had the calling to go deep into your feminine awakening work, then learn about the True Feminine Rising program with Dr. Rameet, where we will integrate core belief system work, emotional processing, chakra healing, and goddess work, embody powerful goddess energy, and create life your way. To learn more, check out drrameet.com, DRRAMEET.com. Plus, the bonus masterclass and ebook on Divine Feminine Power, The Energetic Journey. To access today's gift, which is a powerful guided meditation, please go to the website. You'll be able to click today's episode and be able to download the guided meditation. On this page, you will find all the episodes